Hello, welcome to the Ethereal Experience. I'm here with my good friend, Heterodox Hippie,
What's up?
and I am DM Tryptamine.
Today we're going to be talking about, a few various topics. We basically took it to Twitter and let them decide what they wanted to hear about. So we're going to bring to you right now, we're going to start with the subtle bodies. The subtle bodies are basically, in my belief and in my opinion, kind of what we're comprised of. So if we start with like what we all know we are and work our way out, it would probably make a lot more sense. So, starting with the physical body, that's actually not really highly revered at all. It's kind of considered like the translator of all the energy. It's almost like it's kind of like a way to express in some form of solidity rather than energy. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it's not really considered to be like a massively important thing. But it does give us the ability to experience the five physical senses, which is sight, touch, smell, hearing, and taste. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, that's right.
So I mean, it's pretty much that. It's like a translator. Kind of gives you the ability to experience the physical in a physical body. The second one, kind of as we go out to, is the etheric body, which is also known as the energetic body or the life force body. Uh, Basically, that body's purpose is to carry all the subtle energies that we know of around the body. So things like prana, psi, ki, chi, uh,
Kundalini.
kundalini. Yeah, it's also where the chakras are related. Not related, located, and how the chakras actually interact with the physical is through the etheric body. So I'm gonna let DM Tryptamine kind of introduce the chakras, and we'll take it from there.
Uh, well, the chakras have some common points, but also vary on several levels. And first of all, chakra means wheel in Sanskrit, and they're sacred centers that carry one's spirit in their journey to enlightenment. And each chakra is a center of energy from which your life force is both received and expressed simultaneously. And they dictate your health, and they each govern various organs and parts of your body. And when they're not intact, they could really fuck your whole health up, all of it. You just one chakra getting overactivity could leave others underactive. But if you want, we might go into individual chakras and their own
Purpose.
functionality. Yeah,
I mean, the best way I've heard the chakras explained is almost like spinning vortexes within our body that are both
yeah,
pushing out energy and drawing it in at the exact same time.
yeah,
Uh, Chakras, there's seven main ones, like seven that are commonly known, but it's actually believed that we probably have a few hundred or more, like, but the seven are the ones that relate to like kind of key points or key parts of the body. Um, I guess uh, kind of each chakra has its own kind of vibratory level, and
like the root chakra is the lowest, right?
yeah,
And
and then
the crown chakra is the highest.
yeah, and that's kind of how they got their colors as well because of the
Yeah,
level at which they vibrate. But they're almost seen as like guidance points in one spiritual journey, because of the fact that they vibrate at different levels. In Eastern philosophy, it's kind of, I mean, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but it's almost like you master one chakra and move on to the next, and it's like a way to gauge your progress of actually how you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let DMT speak about the 7 main chakras that we have, and yeah.
Well, this might take a minute or two. The first one is the Muladhara, or the root chakra. It's located at the base of at the last bone on the spinal cord. Sex organs are controlled by the root chakra, as well as most feelings and of lust, sensuality, and security. And second chakra, starting from the spine, is the sacral chakra, and is located near the ovaries or your prostate. And if you're a transvestite, I don't know. No, I'm just fucking with you, but and sex hormones are governed by that particular chakra. It also relates to the emotions and relationships, violence, addictions, emotional needs, and pleasure. And the sacral chakra is the symbol for the color for this sacral chakra is orange. And the third chakra is the Manipura, or the solar plexus chakra, near the navel, and that chakra governs one's digestive system, as well as power, spirituality, and growth. These are just the basics too, and if you want to learn a lot more about them, there's a multitude of books about chakras and Kundalini, but this is just the basics. And the fourth chakra is the Anahata, the heart chakra, obviously located near the heart. This area governs circulation physically and emotionally, and involves complicated emotions like love, compassion, and tenderness, equilibrium, and well-being. It is noted by the color green. And the fifth chakra is the Vishuddha. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly.
Nor do I. It's all good.
The throat chakra, which is located on the throat, and it relates to communication through expression. It is represented by the color light blue, and it also governs independence, fluent thought, and a sense of security. And the sixth chakra is the Ajna, the chakra located with the third eye, which is the conscience. And supposedly, the two physical eyes see the past and present, and the third eye reveals the insight of the future. And when decalcified, it'll provide you with a godlike mindset,
abilities,
perspective, yeah, just psychic abilities and so on. And the seed syllable is Om, or Pranava Om, the supreme sound. And that's how that's like the first step to doing Ajna meditation.
Also known as not also known as, but also tying into Om is the transcendental meditation, which was taught by Maharishi.
And yeah, like you said, chakra is an energy vortex which resides in a particular location of the body and governs the organs and glands of that region.
We forgot the crown.
Oh, the crown is, I don't know, that's like, that doesn't really open until you die. That's what I read. It's just
it's our spiritual antenna. It's like how we bring in everything.
Oh.
It sits on top of the head, and it's it's the color of it is violet, which is like is that the densest or the fastest? It's like on the other end of the spectrum of every other color. It's what brings in energy from the spiritual world, and then you bring it down to the third eye, and the third eye in the is it in the pituitary glands or is it in the pineal? I'm not sure, but one of them translates converts light into energy, which is how we produce melatonin, and that's kind of the significance of the two and why they're so interlinked. Because one brings in the energy, the other translates it for the rest of the body to use.
Yeah, what he said.
I guess now that we've covered the chakras, I can kind of move on to the astral body, which is the second subtle body, or the third body in the explanation that I was going with. The astral body is also known as the emotional body. It's supposedly where our full range of spectrum of emotion actually comes from, which is kind of ties into the theory that the body only translates what it's given by the astral body. And so the astral body is, not only does it provide us with emotions, it's also known for the body. Well, it's the most well-known body for like out-of-body experiences, dreaming as well. That's also
lucid dreaming too. They say that that's the body. That's where that exits your body whenever you go to dream, whether you're aware of it or not.
Yeah,
that's what I heard at least.
That's kind of what I believe as well. So
yeah,
we're on the same wavelength there. But the astral body gets a lot of attention, and okay, it astral travel is cool. I have astral projected. I will admit it is pretty fucking awesome. But if you're not in the right state of mind to be experiencing something like that, then you usually won't be able to do it. And if you can kind of force yourself to do it, you're usually in for an unpleasant experience. Because when it comes to the astral, as opposed to the physical, you're experiencing things like your thoughts, your intentions, they're experienced a lot faster than in the physical. Like when we say you create your reality in the physical, that happens at a lot slower rate than in the astral. In the astral, if you think something is going to happen, that's it, it's done. Like, it's happening as you've thought it. Which is why astral travel isn't recommended in the wrong state of mind.
Yeah. Like you said, if you do it in a bad mindset, you probably won't do it again, even if you do experience it.
A good book on it, on astral projection especially, would be it's The Guide. It was written in, I think, the 1930s, the 1940s, by a guy called Sylvan Muldoon. It's called The Projection of the Astral Body, and it's one of the most valuable resources you could have on astral projection. Like, it covers everything. Like, the guy goes into so much depth that, like, he turned astral projection to like 400 pages.
Damn, I'm gonna pick that up.
It's pretty intense.
And you can also astral project via lucid dreaming, how I usually do it. I find it easier that way, and
it is a lot easier because not a lot of people can kind of lay and get their body to kind of fall asleep.
When I do that, I don't know, every time I end up with sleep paralysis, it scares the shit out of me because I see like demonic crap and it freaks me out. And I'm like, fuck this.
Yeah, you end up like kind of freaking yourself out, and then it brings you out of it, and it's kind of tough. So, I mean, I guess we can talk a little more about astral projection in a bit, but I think another body, I think we should finish this. So, the fourth body is the mental body, which, in case you can't, like, figure out, it's related to thought. The mental body supposedly has its own set of senses, like we have our own kind of senses in the physical body. The mental body has its own as well. It's I think they're called psychic senses, or something like, Yeah,
Is it like extrasensory perception?
kind of. It's a higher clairaudience, which is like mental hearing.
Yeah. Oh shit.
And then you've got planet psychometry or psychometry or something like that, and that's like known as like mental feeling. Then you got higher clairvoyance, which is mental sight, discernment, which is kind of like it's your ability to critically think, but it's almost like the equivalent to taste. So
Well, a lot of people don't have that then.
and then you got along with discernment, you've got your own spiritual discernment, which is kind of like the equivalent to smell. It's like related to kind of more psychically inclined kind of topics. But yeah, I mean, the mental body is what facilitates thought. If we imagine every thought to be an external abstract kind of entity, and then these entities enter into the mental body, and that's how we produce conscious thought. It's kind of hard to explain, but if we kind of look at it in that way, then we kind of realize that emotions aren't us, we're just experiencing them.
Mm-hmm.
B, thoughts aren't us, we're just experiencing them again. You know, we didn't create them, we're just having them. And
that's a trippy thought.
Yeah.
The realization that our thoughts are not our own. I try to say that to like my parents, and they're like, "What? Are you crazy? You're like, are you schizophrenic or something?"
It's never been well received.
Yeah.
And then we got kind of our own primal urges, which come from, you know, the physical body of us, you know, like sexuality and all that kind of shit. Those urges aren't us either, because they're all just things we've added to our experience, like so, you know, that's the mental body. And then the last body I'm going to talk about, because then it goes off into like crazy shit, is the causal body. The causal body is also known as the soul. It is, well, the soul body, like the last step between you and back integrating into oneness, or coming from the source, you know, like. But the causal body is kind of like, if you imagine one lifetime to be like a movie, and then you imagine a big kind of wall of movies, all creating different aspects of your personality, that's basically what the causal body is. It's just you collectively, well, it is you. Guess that's the best way to put it. It's simply what you are, your personality, who you are, kind of thing. But not just you from right now, but how you got to be who you are right now through many, many, many other lifetimes.
Yeah, like everything preceding how you are now, and it's the eternal you.
Exactly. I mean,
simple way to put it, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's it for the subtle bodies. Unless you want to add anything, DMT.
I'm not that knowledgeable on subtle bodies.
That's all good. So
now you got me really intrigued, so I'm gonna have to go pick up like every fucking book.
I guess.
So I won't be so oblivious to this shit, because I'm like, what? I only know of like the astral body, the etheric body, and that's it pretty much. And the mental body, what you told me about the
Fair
other
enough.
day. Yeah.
I guess tying into the subtle bodies and the etheric body, it would probably be worth jumping back to subtle energy a little bit. You know, like prana and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess I'll get started with the pranas. There are, I think, 10 in total. Well, there's 5 pranas, and then 5 upa pranas or upper pranas. I don't know how to pronounce that, but like, you've got prana, apana, udana, vyana, and samana. Which
and Rihanna.
those are the 5 pranas, and I mean, I'm not great with these, but my quick explanation of them all would be prana is what provides us with breathing. It's like the way oxygen circulates around the body. Apana is what controls like the lower part of the body, so like kind of like the digestive system and all that stuff. It's in control of like expelling waste, so when you get like the urge to go for a piss or something, that's apana saying it needs to, expel something. That's not actually you creating that urge, it's just something you feel. Then is it, yeah, it's Vyana, which is kind of like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's like the nerve channels, like it's kind of what, yeah, it's like it's well, okay, like poor circulation, stuff like nervous breakdowns, they all ultimately stem from a lack of Vyana, or well, a lack of Vyana's circulation. And then you've got Udana. Udana is, I think it's, yeah, it's okay, so you've got, if you think of Udana as like kind of like your spirit, not your spiritual, like your bodily kind of protection, like it's like your little fail-safe system. It tells you what's going on in the heart and the head and the brain. It's also what's related to the awakening of Kundalini, and I think it might be what creates us to. Yeah. I got it right. I had to kind of look at something real quick, but yeah, Udana, if when properly circulated and properly controlled, can actually bring you the ability to levitate and shit like that. Well, that's supposedly what like the philosophy on it says. Like, it can give you the ability to control pain like endlessly. So you could kind of go and stamp on like some glass or something like that, and you wouldn't feel anything because you're able to circulate your Udana so well. If that makes any sense at all.
Sounds like Chris Angel to me. That's all I was thinking of the whole time. I was like, well, that explains him.
It does explain some magicians, actually, if you kind of think about it. Like, if you look at these kind of energies as like something that we can control, then maybe these magicians that just look like they do some crazy shit are just really, really in tune with all their energy.
Yeah.
But last prana is the samana, which is, it distributes like nutrition. So whenever you're kind of depleting like your nutritional levels, if you feel like you don't have enough energy, anything like that, that's your samana depleting, because, well, it's your samana not having anything to circulate to bring you like energy and that kind of shit. And there have been kind of tribes, I think some shamanic tribes in like South America, they say that they control their samana so well that they have the ability to run almost endlessly, because they can kind of circulate the samana to keep like their whole body energized and well nourished.
Isn't that seated at the Naval Center and like allows all of the other Veyas to be nourished? And
yeah,
all right,
we're on the right lines.
All right.
And then the 5 upapranas. I mean, I'm no good at explaining these. Like, if you thought I was bad at explaining the pranas, then the upapranas were fucked. But Naga,
I understood all that.
Naga is it's control of burping, basically.
Burping.
Burping, like the expelling of gas.
Yeah.
If there's build-ups of prana or apana, Naga is what comes and clears out these blockages. by kind of expelling them. And then we got Kurma, which is control of blinking. There's not really much else to it. It is what creates the eyelids to move. Devadatta, it's controlling of yawning, and it's similar to Samana in the respect that it's kind of in control of how your body's getting nourished, but it does it by expelling energies that are no longer kind of keeps everything flowing. And the Devadatta controls what controls yawning. Krikala is sneezing. Don't really need to go much into that. It clears the blockages in like the sinuses and shit like that.
Yeah.
And the last one is the Dahana Jaya. I don't know how to say it. But it basically opens and closes the heart valves. Pretty important one there, really.
Oh yeah.
So that's the 5 pranas and upapranas, and they all flow in the subtle body.
If you'd have told me all this shit last night, I would have been like, what? I would have just puked everywhere. I'm like, bah!
Been expelling some samana.
Yeah.
So, that's pranas and upapranas. I guess now we're gonna flow to some other topic.
Some dude was like, how do I decalcify the pineal gland?
That's...
It's pretty simple, sort of.
Go for it.
All I know is it has to do with it. An organic diet helps for sure, and avoiding investing in a reverse osmosis filter for your shower head and your tap water.
I grabbed that shit, of course.
Yeah. And meditation will stimulate the pineal gland. Someone was like, do you have to do psychedelics? And if you do psychedelics, will your third eye open? I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Psychedelics do stimulate it temporarily, I believe, because it definitely makes sense when you're tripping. You're like, okay, I get it now. And it will give you a greater perspective, extrasensory perspective and perception for a few days afterwards. But then once again, it'll go back to the way it was before the trip. So meditation, a rigid meditation schedule.
Consistency is the key
consistency.
There.
Yeah, like twice a day for 20 minutes a day. That could work. Just twice a day though, at the same time, or try to do it at the same time if you can. And slowly go organic if you haven't.
Another good thing to mention, I think it's iodine.
Iodine?
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Which is like, they take it for like when kind of like army kind of training's happening, they get exposed to like, it's to kind of boost their immune system and start clearing out kind of toxins and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Iodine pills have also been said to clear out toxins in the body relating to like the brain as well. I mean, I can't confirm this, but it would make sense. If it clears out toxins in the body, it's going to clear out some of the toxins in the mind as well. So
you could do that apple cider vinegar too, even though it's disgusting. That would clean out everything. But you could go on idealvitamins.com and get organic iodine potassium.
That's a good shout.
So check it out.
I guess I don't really. I think people expect too much from the opening of the third eye.
Yeah.
They suddenly expect that they're going to be able to fucking levitate and shoot laser beams out their eyes and travel in the past or some shit like this. Like, there are so many crazy theories related to the third eye that kind of make me sit there and go,
especially on Twitter.
Damn, did you just say that? Like,
there's one guy last night. He was probably being sarcastic, but I couldn't really tell because my perspective was all distorted and shit. and he was like, the third eye is actual physical eye. I was like, okay,
Okay.
all right.
I mean,
But,
it's known as the psychic eye, which would
yeah.
imply that it's not actually a physical eye at all. So, okay.
Just the pineal gland. That's all it is.
And
But it's linked to the pituitary gland.
I would also say that exercise is a really good way of, I wouldn't say like opening the third eye, but keeping up the consistency of keeping your body kind of in tune.
Yeah.
Regular exercise is really fucking worth it. Like, really worth it.
Oh, yeah. Even if it's only like a 2-mile run every day.
And yoga. Yoga's another good mention. I mean, like, there are different kinds of yoga, and kind of the definition of yoga gets a bit skewed depending on who you speak to and kind of where you're kind of speaking about it. But just doing a few asanas a day has been said to aid the opening of the third eye. Okay, so it aids the opening of the third eye, and I guess that's all we really need to talk about for the opening of the third eye. It's not really that interesting a topic. I mean,
yeah, to a lot of people it is.
it means a lot, but it's not really the be all end all kind of anything. Yeah. So I guess we should talk a little about astral projection. I think that would be quite a cool topic to go into, and I also got asked to go into it on Twitter. So astral projection is the leaving of your physical body via your astral subtle body. And by leaving, I don't mean like you die or anything like that. I mean your awareness shifts to the astral subtle body, and you're experiencing things from the astral subtle body until you return back to your physical body, and then kind of the two merge back together, and your awareness kind of blends back together, and you have a recollection of the astral experience.
Yeah. Whenever I astral project via lucid dreaming, it's kind of weird. It's going to sound like Inception, even I don't know why, but every time I do that and realize I'm in a dream, everything around me stops. I don't know if you've done that before.
Yeah, every time.
It's like that one that right when that thought crosses your mind, you're like everything freezes. There could be cars racing by, and it's so mind blowing. And you could blink and change the scenery, but once it's I don't know how I did that, but I practiced it and it worked after a while. And yeah, it makes you really lose the fear of leaving your body and the fear of death. Even though I still am not ready to die yet, but if it happens, I'm not gonna be very scared.
I think that is an important thing to mention. Like, when you experience yourself outside of your physical body, suddenly a whole new perception of what you experience and what you know to be true just opens up to you. It's like,
oh yeah,
hold on a second, like, I am alive right now, I'm here, I'm thinking, I'm experiencing without my physical body. Surely if my physical body was to at some point become incapacitated, die, then it's not going to be the end for me, because I've already seen myself without my physical body, and it just goes to show that the physical body is something temporary that we're experiencing. Like, great experience, not ready to die yet, but I wouldn't be fearful if it was to ever come.
Like, I was just watching Enter the Void before this.
Damn. Good film.
Oh yeah, if you haven't seen it, watch it. That'll give you some perspective on things,
definitely,
especially death. And I feel like from my experiences being out of my body, It taught me that death is just the beginning to another life or something like that. I don't know exactly, but I just know it's definitely not the end.
It can't be an end, you know.
It can't be.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned this quote in the last podcast, but Shang Tzu, death is not an end and birth is not a beginning, you know. It just shows you there's a cycle going. I mean,
like the power of now, Eckhart Tolle, he says, death is the end of all illusions, but it could be the beginning of new illusions. But it's definitely the end of all illusions. Earthly illusions, for sure.
Earthly illusions until maybe you end up coming back and going, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I forgot about learning this, so I'm back. But, yeah, astral projection it's awesome. And I think a lot of people seem to, because we say we're in our astral body when we dream, a lot of people seem to assume that astral projection has to take place on another plane of existence, which, to my experience and to my knowledge, isn't true at all. Like, when I've astral projected, I've been on the physical plane, but not in my physical body. Probably a difference in vibration, which is why I could experience it the way I did. I mean, I couldn't pick anything up. I couldn't do what I would normally do in my physical body, you know, like if I went to put my hand on something, it would like kind of slip through. But a lot of people do say that while in your astral body, if you practice enough, you can kind of get psychokinesis and can move shit in the physical with your mind, like intent.
Yeah, like that movie Ghost. That's what it makes me think of. You said you haven't seen that, but
is it good?
Yeah, he sticks around after he gets murdered because he has more obligations to like fulfill.
Okay.
And he's taught how to by another guy who's just floating around Earth, wandering around, just fucking with people. He teaches him how to like push things and move objects with his astral body.
Shit.
It's a really good movie. You should watch it.
There's also an X-Files. Do you remember the really old series of X-Files?
I never really watched it, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Like
well,
back then, I wasn't into that shit.
In one of the episodes, there's a soldier who's got back from like Afghanistan or something, or maybe Vietnam. Yeah, I think Vietnam would make more sense to when the shows were actually produced. And he's got no arms and legs.
Damn.
But he's like so kind of... He hates everyone for what's happened to him. And he's actually astral projecting and killing people in his astral body.
Holy shit.
Using like his mind and using like intent. So like he kind of goes out of his body and then these people end up dead because he's like suffocated them with intent of like... It's really good. It's a really good episode. Like, it touches on some kind of crazy shit.
It's hard to believe, but I kind of believe it.
The X-Files is... I mean, it's all fiction, but it does really touch on some... It's kind of dramatized, but if you kind of watch it in the mindset to learn, then you do actually get told a lot about what's going on in the government and, you know, kind of... the truth is out there. That kind of mindset, it does kind of facilitate a lot of things. I guess I should talk real quick about...
Speaking of that, the shows like that, the Jesse Ventura conspiracy theory.
Never watched it.
Have you heard it? You've heard it, right?
Yeah.
That people think they watch it and like, oh, that's the absolute truth. There's people I've talked to that have watched it, and I'm like, that barely scratches the surface. The government tells them to tell them exactly that and that only.
Yeah, it's like
there's so much more. Yeah, I mean it's true, but holy shit, there's so much more. Like when they talk about extraterrestrials, I'm like, talk about Dulce. Talk about our government working with extraterrestrials. no, we can't talk about that. Only
Yeah.
Denver underground base.
They can only talk about what they're told they're allowed to talk about. Like, it's ridiculous. But it's how they keep control. They kind of funnel it out. They give you like small fragments of truth, and they make it seem so Hollywood and so fake that when you kind of when someone like watches that shit, they're like, yeah, that's all fake. Look, it's like on this show. And if someone thinks it's real, then they've not got enough information to do anything with it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like almost like anti-conditioning. It's like giving you the truth and pretending it's not the truth, so that. But anyway, I guess a quick astral projection technique would be good to kind of drop on here. So, the first kind of step to astral projection consciously, and the most easiest way, would be to enter into sleep paralysis, which for some people does scare the shit out of them. I guess it's trying to keep a rational mind whilst unable to move. It does take a lot of practice, you know. If you do enter in sleep paralysis, the usual reaction is, oh my god, I can't move my body, am I ever going to be able to again? Or
so it always crosses my mind.
Or shit, what the fuck's floating around behind my head, or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But if you can keep rational about it and you can keep calm, then you're pretty much there. Once you're in sleep paralysis, all you need to do is kind of almost like you were trying to walk, you know, like use that subconscious will to just say, I want out of my body. And you'll, a few techniques would be trying to climb an imaginary rope.
Or a ladder.
That's always a good one. Yeah, or a ladder.
So my friend told me, so I don't want to interrupt, so keep going.
No, go ahead. Like,
it's kind of funny, but he was like, yeah, I tried to astral project sober and it didn't work because I couldn't do it. Like, I wasn't that relaxed. When I got into sleep paralysis, I freaked out. So he's like, I took a Xanax bar and I did it successfully. And I was like, wow, all right.
Damn.
It's like, that was me. I'd be out in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I wouldn't even have time to kind of transition out of my body. I'd just be asleep.
But continue.
So, it's using that subconscious will. So if you don't know what I mean by subconscious will, get something that's kind of, you know, it takes maybe like 10-20 seconds to walk around, and just keep walking around it and walking around it, and you'll soon realize that actually walking around this is taking absolutely no mental faculties at all. It's just happening because you've said to happen, and you're going to walk until you tell yourself to stop. And it's the same kind of principle. As soon as you begin lifting out of your body, you're going to continue lifting out of your body until you say stop, or, you know.
Yeah.
So you kind of just have to stay calm and go, okay, right, I'm going to lift out my body. I'm going to astral project. And I guess the biggest downfall for people trying to astral project is their inability to believe that they can do so. Because if you're sitting there saying, oh, I'm not sure I can astral project, while you're in sleep paralysis, well, bam, you know, you can't astral project. It's all about the motivation, the belief that you can do it, to actually be able to do it.
And confidence is the key to everything in life.
It's weird how true that is. To finish off, if you want to get back into your body, let's say you have successfully astral projected and you want to get back into your body, don't freak out. Just think, I want to be back in my body, and let the will guide you. It will just pull you back in. Funny story about my first astral projection experience. I was out of my body and I freaked out because I didn't know how to get back into my body. And instead of thinking, I want to get back into my body, I went into panic mode and I started thinking, oh shit, I don't know how to get back into my body. And instead of focusing on being back in my body, I was focusing on being stuck out of my body. And that was a fucking scary experience. Like, holy shit.
I bet.
I was convinced I wasn't going home. Like, I was like, oh my god, oh my god. And then, you know, I kind of just thought, right, I want to be back in my body. After I kind of calmed myself down, and that was it. Just bang, 2 seconds, back in, all good. So, I've talked a lot. I'm
Astral project to a strip club.
You were fucked up that night, man.
That was hilarious. I'm serious though. I'm gonna do that one day. No work.
I want to do the same.
Won't even have to pay.
I want to go touch the booty while I'm astral projecting. Just getting a load of shit. Oh well. So, we got about 15 minutes left or so. So, what do you want to talk about? I know. 7 states of consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a long time to cover all of them, really.
Oh, yeah. That might go over an hour.
Yeah. So, maybe the Christ consciousness and cosmic consciousness.
Okay, yeah. Well,
the 2 most important ones.
True that. Okay, go ahead,
man. Christ consciousness. Like I've said in many of my tweets, the return of Christ is the rise of Christ consciousness amongst the masses. And it's just, you attain a Christ-like perspective. You recognize the oneness. You don't experience the oneness, but you recognize it, and you are all-knowing, even though we already kind of are all-knowing. You know what I mean?
I mean, just to interrupt, like, real quick.
Yeah.
When you said you don't experience it, I agree, like, but I think maybe people are going to need a little more kind of clarification. So, you kind of feel it, you feel the oneness, but you don't be the oneness.
Yeah, you don't become the oneness,
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify.
But yeah. Like, you recognize it and you feel it, you know it's there, but yeah, you don't become it, because that's a whole another state of consciousness. And yeah, it's just, you just know everything, but you don't know everything at the same time.
Yeah, it's one of those
it's like paradoxes. A double-edged sword. Yeah. And it's just Christ consciousness, man. Yeah, you go into it in a little bit, and then I'll finish it off.
So I guess, like DMT was saying, the return of Christ is not him coming back down, because it says that he's going to come back the way he left in the Bible. Like, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it says. Like,
yeah,
so instead of him coming back down to us, it's going to be us going up to Christ, or Christ consciousness. Like,
yeah,
it's the return of Christ consciousness, not specifically Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ was just like a prophet, or like kind of like Buddha and Muhammad from like Islam. Like, he is just a prophet. Like, maybe he was a real person, but he ascended long ago, and it's going to be us coming up to see him, well, his state of consciousness that he was in, rather than him coming back to see us.
Alright, you kind of got me off guard, like, talking about Christ consciousness, even though it was, like, my idea. I wasn't, like, prepared for it, so I had to, like, get my mind ready and just
real good.
think of something and how to say it, like, coherently. But all of you know, most people know that there are spiritual currents running through each of our minds.
Yeah.
And, like, our thought streams, and...
Yeah.
And the spiritual growth to achieving or attaining Christ consciousness is done by aligning these spiritual currents in our minds that come from both are personality and the mind of the spirit by intellect, assent, and emotional devotion. And Christ consciousness is the growing human recognition and blending of the human evolutionary, or what many call the evil ego, mind with the divine mind and our divine personality. And that is the source of human happiness and fulfillment, in my opinion.
I agree.
And this awareness accrues over time with the consciousness of human thinking, when intention and openness is focused on knowing who and what is that Christed state of being. And it's a higher mindedness of enlightenment.
Yeah.
And when you attain Christ consciousness, you feel more liberated from your own mind. You feel more joyful. The fear that isolates us and creates despair diminishes in thought and feeling, and you are just free to live the life you were born to live as a child of spirit, and a loved, filled, and supportive, all connected, intertwined, one consciousness universe, I think.
Yeah. I did understand what you're saying, so it was expressed well, I think.
And you don't have to be Christian to achieve Christ consciousness, by the way.
That's an important thing to know.
Some people think that. And it is the highest state of intellectual development and emotional maturity.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to have to go into this in more detail in another podcast for sure, because there's so much to say on it.
Yeah,
but I guess let's finish up with the cosmic consciousness. So
I think I did that pretty well. I don't know.
I think you did.
Sweet. Last night, oh God, thank God that's over with.
Yeah.
I don't even want to tell them. No one's gonna know about last night.
It was pretty funny. Like,
yeah, to you.
You should have saved like the recordings for like a blooper or something. That would have been funny.
Oh God. But I'm gonna try to like go into this a little bit more.
Have you spoke on cosmic consciousness? Well,
not yet. I mean, this is just Christ consciousness a little bit more.
Yeah, go for it.
I have a few notes down from like a month ago, and it's they call it the Christed state because of the sacredness and the purity of the individual has achieved it. But that doesn't mean you have to become celibate. That's just a misconception. Sure. All of your sex drive doesn't be depleted after that happens. And Jesus achieved this in his human life in the missing years of his life that are unaccounted for. He went to Tibet.
Yeah.
To live with Buddhists, and that's how he became enlightened, but a lot of Christians did not know that.
A lot of people would argue it, but I mean, it does make sense. Like, he did disappear for
like 18 years. Yeah. It was a long time he was gone, but he achieved it in his human life and was given this term before his name as the recognition of his achievement of his spiritual status. And this path is open to anyone, regardless of your religious tradition, if and when he or she or whoever the fuck you are is open to becoming a living vessel of love and truth and the one, and love connects you to the one too.
It is the one, isn't it?
Yeah, love is the one. Yeah. It's also the state of awareness of our true nature, our higher self, and our birthright as the children of God and being one with God, because we are one with God. We're part of God. We're living gods. I don't want to get into that because people think we're crazy.
Yeah.
But it's just we're gonna have to save that for another podcast for sure.
It's gonna take up like a whole nother podcast.
Oh shit, we're on 55. Damn it. Sorry about that.
We should bring in Nico for for one of these podcasts, like for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, cosmic consciousness. Let's wrap that up real quick. Do you want to do it or shall I?
I just took up like 10 minutes, so.
Nah, we're cool. Okay, cosmic consciousness. It's not knowing that you're one. It's not feeling that you're one. It is being one. Now, okay, that kind of sounds kind of paradoxical or, incomprehensible, but that is the true nature of the one. If you imagine every single person on Earth to be almost like a screen, and
Like an opaque?
Like what I see right now.
Yeah.
Is a screen. Yeah.
Like a movie screen, yeah.
Yeah. And what you see right now is like a movie screen, and like our thoughts are just part of that screen. Our emotions are just part of that screen. If you start taking away all these screens, there's a constant behind every screen that people don't recognize which is the one, the source. Whatever you want to call it, God.
Yeah.
But it is the constant behind the ever evolving changes. So if you take away every single screen, all you're left with is what is and what is ever gonna be, which is the one.
Yeah.
And individuality supposedly does not remain in cosmic consciousness. It's gone. You're no longer you. You are everything. You are nothing. You are one. You are, like, people can't really get their head around it, myself included.
Yeah.
But that's because we're not meant to, like.
It's what you'll experience when you die, I think. Temporarily, you'll experience it.
You
return to the one.
Going back to one is like, how can you comprehend being absolutely everything and nothing at the very same time? Like, it's it is something that we're not meant to comprehend. I mean, it just is. And any label you put upon the one is just another screen you've added to the one. There are no labels, there are no statuses to the one. There is nothing but the one. And anything that you add to it is just another screen. It's another illusion onto the one.
Like the label creates an opaque, if that makes sense. It's just, but yeah, it's not something to be talked about, but experienced. Because when you label it, you're
adding to the illusion.
Yeah.
I guess what enlightenment has been defined as really is the removing of all illusion, the removing of everything. And what that really means is when you reach a point of enlightenment, you are no longer the screen.
You're no longer like disconnected.
You realize that everything is you and you are everything. And when you die in an enlightened state, you're supposedly no longer have to partake in the rebirth cycle. You like transcend it and you just experience the one as it is all the time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't really know how I feel about that or what I think of that or
I personally wouldn't want to return to that yet.
I guess, but the weird thing is, when we say we don't want to return to it, that is the one saying it doesn't want to return to itself. So
yeah,
because we kind of forget. It is
paradoxical, but still, it's just I want to come back after a while of just resting and feeling the one, because I kind of like Earth. It's cool. I mean, as fucked up as it is, I want to change some shit, make an impact, and go down in history for being like something awesome. Profound.
I don't really see like death as return to one. I personally see it as like a return to spirit. So we stay in our soul form, which has our individuality. But I mean, that's another topic for another time. Like, this isn't something we should get into with like 10 seconds left.
I think we got 5 minutes after this, because on SoundCloud, we only had like a 55-minute podcast.
Oh yeah. Well, I say, it's too long to get into for now, so...
Yeah. It was...
So, yeah, cosmic consciousness, the return to one, the being of one, nothing more than the one you just are. I guess that's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah.
Tune in for the next ethereal experience. We don't really know what we're going to be talking about, but we prefer to let it flow.
Yeah, you could leave us recommendations, but we might not listen to you guys.
we might not pick up on it, but we are definitely open to suggestions for now. Like, we want to make sure you get what you want out of this. We're here to provide that for you, so let us know.
Before we go, we should talk about earthly enlightenment, because a lot of people, there's so many misconceptions about that on Twitter.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's just people see it as you're just gonna be like you're gonna like mirror Buddha, even though he had a wife and kids. I think I said this last time, but
yeah,
it's just desensitized, and the letting go of resisting all unpleasant scenarios.
A state of enlightenment on Earth would be more realizing that there's something higher, and realizing that you're actually part of everything, and letting it flow through you rather than trying to kind of control every element of it.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And I mean, it's worth noting that the state of enlightenment, according to a lot of Eastern yogis, is considered all actions and all thoughts to be from the source of love. So you no longer think of, you're no longer putting yourself over everything, but you are making sure that you're loving yourself enough to be able to provide for others.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The Ether Experience.
Tune in next time.
Please do subscribe and give us ratings on iTunes.
5 stars would be awesome.
We love you guys, and we hope you tune in next time.
Much love to all of you.
And stop.